Today, we are privileged to have the opportunity to speak with Jayant Rohatgi, the director behind the inspiring feature film Sumo Didi. Inspired by a true story of India's first sumo wrestler, this film embodies themes of resilience, determination, and empowerment. Sumo Didi is part of the lineup of films at the 24th Annual New York Indian Film Festival, held from May 31st to June 2nd, 2024 at Village East by Angelica, New York. Join us as we explore Jayant's journey from the idyllic lanes of North Kolkata to the global stage of filmmaking. Welcome, Jayant, to ITV Gold.
Thank you so much, Nidhi, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you on our show. So let's start with your journey from pursuing a degree in business and commerce to directing commercials and making your first feature film. That's truly intriguing. Tell us more about that.
So I come from a business family. My father did his own small automobile bulb manufacturing business, and through school and college, I had only thought of and only known that I probably joined the business someday. And but things got the better of me. At some point of time, I realized that that wasn't my calling. And one day, I just packed my bags and came to Bombay. I joined a advertising company, advertising production house, as a production assistant, and that's how my journey into filmmaking started. So I worked as an assistant and grew up the ladder there to become a first AD, and then finally started directing commercials. And I've been doing that ever since for the last 15 years. And
How much time did it take for you to climb that ladder from being the production assistant to being the director for these advertising films?
so, well, I came to Bombay in 2002, and yes, I did my first ad as a director in 2007, end or 8. That's, yeah, 2008. Correct.
That must be a very
Roughly six,
special,
roughly 5 to
yeah.
6 year journey.
So talk
So
about your first ad film.
I, I think it was Nestle Milkmaid. Yeah, it was an offer film for Nestle Milkmaid. Uh, those days we used to shoot on film,
Right.
so it was quite a big deal for agencies to trust a newbie director with film stock and say, hey,
Right.
film stock
I
was very
got that.
expensive. So we had one day of shoot and one day of product shoot. No, I think one day of shoot, including product shoot. And we had to wrap up two 15-second commercials with live action shoot in the end. So yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, thinking back, I think those were the days where it was challenging and it's exciting to be able to finish it. I'm sure it was nerve-wracking now that I look back, but it's fun. And I think that's how I started my journey.
Wonderful. And you've come a long way. I was going through some of your commercials. You've worked with Pariniti. You've even worked with Ranbir Kapoor. How was that experience?
Working with actors uh, from Hindi cinema is a different ballgame altogether. It's quite exciting, and at the same time, because you're not telling them how to act, right?
Right.
I think you are just ensuring the fact that uh, they understand the format that we are in, because we're used to working in films which are 2 hours long, and then here we have around 30 seconds, 45 sometimes, if we are lucky, to wrap up the entire story. So there are a lot of takes that we need to take to cover shots so that we can edit those into making it into a 30 or a 40-second commercial. So it's more about those things, but it's exciting. They're fun to work with. They also come with a lot more ease onto a set. So it's great.
But you were able to direct them, you were able to tell them, I want this expression, I want you to be feeling this. You were able to give them a backstory, and they were able to comprehend that and express it on screen, was it?
Well, yeah. So they already once they come in on, we already meet them before the shoot with the storyboard, and they are aware of the entire script because the agency has already spoken to them. They have ratified the story. So as a director, I come in probably I'm the last person they interact with before the entire filmmaking starts. And in that front, I probably just take them through how I'm going to be shooting the film, and what are we going to be doing. And of course, like I said, you don't really need to tell any of these actors how to act because
Right.
they are bona fide actors, and that's why they are doing so well in the industry. But like I said, it's almost about telling them just hold the pause for a little longer or keep it shorter and a little faster. These are the small things so that it can be condensed into time
Right.
and kept in the edit because I could have a very nice shot, but there's no way I can possibly put that in the edit because the shot is too long for me to keep. So it's all about that. So they also understand that. I think all these actors now who do advertising, they are aware of it. About what the challenge of that particular format is, and they know that they need to do it fast. So there's not much of world building that goes in that. You are right in the things from the very word go.
So, when did you decide that you want to venture into films as well? And you have made Sumo Didi after making 30 seconds and 1 minute formats. You didn't even get on to making a short film, but you just took a plunge, a leap of faith into making a feature film that calls for a lot of guts. How did that happen?
Well, I think you require a little bit of guts to be in the industry, for sure. But I think because I've been directing commercials for this long, at some point of time, the desire to tell a longer story started growing in me. And, and I was looking for a story with a strong human connection. So when Joyce and Gupta, one of our producers from Freshline Films, shared Hethal's story, it instinctively stuck with me. I think Joy also discovered Hethal through a newspaper article, and they got curious and they actually went out and reached out to her and met her. And once they met her, they realized it's a very powerful story, and so they thought this needs to be told to the world. So when he shared the story with me, I was like, wow, India has a sumo wrestler? I think majority of the people
I
feel
didn't
the
know
same way,
about
like,
it.
because
Yeah.
it's not a sport that's actually recognized in India or men,
Right.
women, even men don't are part of sumo wrestling in our country. So we're not aware of that.
Right.
So that instinctively, like, okay, this is an interesting story, and I love sports drama. Like for me, I'm a sucker for it. So the moment it was a sports drama with a strong human story attached to it, I said, well, this is it. I could have asked for a better uh, debut feature. Because I'm extremely grateful and fortunate to have got that.
So, what drew you to the story of a woman breaking societal norms and excelling in a male dominated sport?
So, like, the story of Hethal is a story of an overweight middle class girl from a conservative Marwadi household. And just from there, that's the base. And from there, like when I met Hethal, when I spoke to her, and when I realized that, she had seen it all: social prejudices, patriarchal mindset, lack of opportunities, you know, the complete disdain of dreaming outside the box, especially as an overweight woman. And frankly, these are things that we see around us happening a lot. In fact, growing up, I've seen this around happening in my family also, extended family. So that itself was a big inspiring factor. However, Hetal went a step ahead and chose a sport that did not even exist in our country. So the magnitude of her dream was unimaginable. Yet she found a way to make it a reality. So her sheer tenacity to break through all the obstacles that came her way with that single-minded focus and determination, that moved me immensely.
So, fat shaming and objectification of women are prevalent issues in society. How did you approach this sensitive subject matter of weight stigma while crafting the narrative of Sumo Didi?
So, yes, you're right. This happens a lot. Uh, More so to women than to men. And I never approached the character of Hetal in the story, in the film, as a person who is a female versus a male. Like for me, the character was gender neutral because feelings like pain, disappointment, hurt, anger, these are not gender specific.
True.
When everyone feels it. So I wanted to keep the story in a way that it comes across not uh, trying too hard to show, oh, this is a woman's story. It's a human story. And once that comes through, then the actor who comes on board, we were very clear that we wanted somebody who could, who looked a certain way, and she would definitely draw from her own personal experiences. So those were things that really helped us in trying to shape the film in the way it has.
So when you had this story in your hands, did you approach big production houses? So there was this film with Bhumi Dam Laga Ke Haisha, Yash Raj did it, and Yash Raj has also done films like Chak De. So did you like happen to approach them or production houses of the likes of Yash Raj?
But like I said, this story came to me through the producers. I knew Joy through advertising.
Okay.
He used to be an advertising guy. And then he shifted to features. So we knew each other from before. So he had the story and he developed the story along with the writer Nikhil Sachin. So what I know of is that they did approach a few actors, and I don't think it worked out because of various reasons. But one of the reasons could have been possibly that they didn't want to put on so much weight because of an opportunity cost. And this film was not being mounted on such a grand scale at that point of time. So it just made sense that we cast somebody who's new and fresh. Uh, and that's when I came in, I felt that it needed a new face. It did because anyone who comes on board will come with a preconceived notion, and audience will approach it with a certain sense of what they have seen that person do before. Which is why I think Bhumi works great for Damlarati Aisha because that was the first film. Nobody had seen her before that. So I think that was the approach that we all that I had in mind, and I'm glad we went that way. But it was quite challenging to find somebody who had the physical prowess, who looked a certain way, who could act. So the entire journey of casting was a good 6-7 months.
So when you were
For me specifically, when I came on board, the producers had been talking to people much before that.
So when you were making a film and even during the process, did you think this is going to be like a festival film and then we will be looking for distributors versus, having like the whole game plan before the film even starts to shoot?
No, we never thought of it as a festival film at all. Frankly, none of us who are directly involved in this film have any festival experience either. So we did not even know what a film for a particular festival requires. Now that I've been to a couple of festivals, I'm aware of certain things that certain festivals try to are look for in films and stuff like that. So we were fortunate that we already had a studio backing us with this story. It's Geo Studios. So we did not know that this was going to go to festivals. The plan was it would probably make for streaming release at that point of time. So, and for me, I didn't want to take any pressure of going to festivals or treating it any different. I wouldn't have treated it any different, because I only know how to tell a story the way I know how to tell a story. So uh, at that point of time when I was making it, I don't think there was any intention or even shift toward making a certain kind of cinema. I just wanted to be true to the story as much as possible and just wanted to do justice to Ethel's life on screen.
The film has received accolades and recognition at prestigious international film festivals. What has been the most rewarding aspect of showcasing Sumo Didi on the global stage, and how do you think it has contributed to the conversation surrounding women's empowerment?
I think it's been a really overwhelming journey for us because to make a, a film about sumo and having our first festival in Japan, that's like
Yeah,
striking gold. Or
true.
honestly, we shot in Japan. We shot extensively in the countryside and towns of Japan, but we never thought that we'd be coming back to showcase the film there for a prestigious festival. The Tokyo Film Festival was like a beautiful gift that was given to us in terms of finding ourselves taking part in competition there. And I was initially a little nervous because I did not know. I didn't, like I said, we didn't have intentions of making this for a worldwide audience. It was being made for to be watched in India, but the way it was received in Japan, it just made it was very overwhelming because I think the the core message just stuck with the people when they watched it, and they during the Q&A and post that what people spoke about even in Palm Springs, there was this
Wow.
lady who was very moved by the film. So I'm just very grateful that I'm part of a film that is probably helping and inspiring some people.
So, as a filmmaker, what were some of the unique challenges you faced in depicting the world of sumo wrestling authentically, especially from the perspective of a female protagonist?
So first of all, I did not know much about sumo wrestling when I came on board, right? So I had to do a lot of research in trying to understand what the sport is like. So it's not only about the rules and the games and the what are the basic uh, discipline around it, but so I had to start from scratch and understand the sport and the euphoria around it because it is the most popular sport in Japan, and I had no idea why it is so popular. So just doing through research, I understood many finer details about how sumo started and what was the basic reason why it's so revered as a sport over there. Sumo wrestlers are treated like celebrities in
Wow.
Japan. And going deeper and deeper, I found finer details like, sumo is about winning over yourself within and outside the ring. And that resonates with our protagonist story. So that was one of the challenges. But of course, that's a challenge of understanding any sport when you're trying to make. The other challenge that has been that our film is made on a very economical budget. So the challenge was to ensure that it doesn't look like one.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Uh, so that's something that we were very conscious of in trying to ensure that we do not end up uh, making the film look small. And of course, every film is challenging to make, but it's an equally gratifying experience. So, like
For
they
you
say,
personally, because you are so used to making ad films, 30 seconds, 1 minute, was there ever a time when you said, okay, I'm just hanging the boots there and this is way too long for me. I wish this was like a bit shorter or maybe like a short film? Because you are used to seeing very instant results when you're making an ad, and then post production, and then it's everywhere everyone is watching it, but this takes a long time.
yeah. So initially, yes, when you just start working on the film, I think yes, you do tend to question yourself whether like, oh, I've never done something like this before. Can I do it? But you got to trust your instincts and your experience because filmmaking is the same. The format changes. Uh, so I just need to adapt to the format quickly. And whenever I was in doubt, I trusted my instincts, and that's the best thing I could have done at that point of time. Having said that, the difference is the biggest challenge is to probably stay true to your uh, vision that you had right in the beginning when you started to make this film. Because the journey is so long, sometimes, with time, you tend to adapt and change and stuff like that. So you got to be constantly checking on yourself whether you are being true to your initial vision. And that's something that keeps you sustained throughout. So if that continues to happen, I think there's enough time to prep. Advertising, generally, we don't get much time to prep. So it's a quick in, quick out. But there is a long process of pre-production before we actually get to filming. So there's a lot of things that are going into details, and it takes time to get deep into it and find a strong ground to stand on.
So from start to end, how much time did this whole film take? Pre-production, production, post-production?
Uh, I think just over about 15 months.
Okay, that's not bad at
And
all.
15 months from pre-production. Of course, the scripting had started much before that. So, yes.
Share some insights into the casting process and the collaboration with actors in bringing the inspiring story to life.
So, we did not have any specific actors in mind when we were writing. Uh, However, by the time we, wrapped up our working draft, I was sure of my character sketches and the casting brief. So we had an extensive casting process over months, and many suggestions came from the casting director, from the producers, from the production team. So if I come to the father's character, which is played by Nitesh Pandey, unfortunately passed away last year. Uh, I've been following his career for a very long time, like Khosla Ka Ghosla. From that time, he just stood out to me. And he's a phenomenally nuanced actor. And
True.
he was the moment I knew that I needed a father who was generally silent, but he has a firm voice in between where he is fighting his own demons and dilemma. I knew he was my first choice. Uh, I'm grateful that I finally got to work with him. For the mother's character, I not only did I want a conservative, middle class woman who's influenced by her conditioning and environment, but she also needed to have the warmth and love of a mother because all these choices, she's a product of her own conditioning, and her surroundings. Eventually, every character in the film is right from their perspective. She just wants a better life for her daughter, a married life with all material comforts, something that she did not have. So she vehemently opposes. She's the primary antagonist in the film. Personally, in Hithal's life, in the film, uh, she plays this the primary antagonist, and in all fairness, you cannot blame her. So that's why we wanted someone with warmth, yet a very strong and opinionated mind, and that we casted Anubha Fatehpuria. It is just by chance that she
Okay.
was. She's also a Marwari, so I didn't have to give her a lot of backstory trying to explain to her what it means to be growing up in a Marwari household. So she got that very quickly. It was just trying to find that
Wonderful.
balance between where she is very strong, level headed, and where she seems to lose control and seems to then just resign to the fate of what her daughter has chosen.
Talk about your upcoming projects that you're working on.
So I am working. I have been reading a lot of scripts recently. A couple of them are very nice. I'm also working on writing my own screenplay with a co-writer. So there's a few things in the pipeline. Hopefully I'll be able to shortlist some scripts soon, whether it's my own that I get to make or a script that somebody else has written. We'll get to know hopefully by the end of the year. I should be able to get moving on to something else and
Wonderful.
exciting.
Wonderful. So we eagerly anticipate the impact Sumo Didi will have on audiences at the New York Indian Film Festival on June 2nd at 11:30 a.m. And thank you so much for talking to us, Jayant. Looking forward to seeing you at the festival.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you for having me on board.